when we say all lives matter, all lives definitely do matter. You know, like it is one love, as in we are all one energy. The same energy of life that exists in me exists in you.
Yeah, but the same energy of life that exists in me means I'm more likely to get a better job, live in better housing, have better healthcare. My children more likely to go to university. So where's your one love there?
I don't know, man. I've never let them sort of things, and I'm not. I don't know how to put it like this, and I'm not going to say that I'm not overly privileged or whatever. But I've never seen. I've always seen these things happening, but I've tried to not allow them to hold me back. And the whole point of Black Lives Matters is in America it's a lot more stark than it is here.
Oh, yeah,
That's what
definitely.
I've noticed.
Definitely.
I was
Absolutely.
walking around a supermarket in America, and I'm the kind of brother who will say hello to people. If you catch eye with
Yeah.
somebody, you've got three things you can do. Yeah, you can ignore them. Yeah, and
Yeah.
when you catch eye with someone, you can ignore them,
Yeah.
or you can acknowledge them by saying hello. Yeah, or you can like just kind of nod. Do you know what I mean? I was walking around a supermarket in America, and guy looked at me. We kind of caught eyes, so I kind of went, "You're right," and said something. And the look on the guy's face was absolute disdain. And I immediately thought to myself, oh, well, you get some places where you'd say hello to people, you get some places where you wouldn't say hello to people. This must be a place where you don't. Until I got to the counter and the guy had heard my voice. Now, I happened to be looking for champagne at the time, and he heard my voice and he was like, oh, you're British? And I was like, yeah. And he felt, you could see the thought that he was mortified. He then showed me where I could get champagne from. He got into his car outside, drove me like some 7 miles up the
Yeah.
road to this
Yeah.
place to go and get the champagne, took me in the shop, told the person in the shop that I was looking for champagne. And all of this came from the guilt over the fact that, to be honest, he
That's
thought
right.
I
Yeah.
was a
Yeah.
black American. Hence, he looked
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
me like that. And
Yeah.
as soon
Yeah.
as he realised that I
That's
was
how they're
black British,
polarized.
he looked at me
Yeah. Yeah.
different. And I suppose the Black Lives Matter thing is almost to create that awareness. I'm not saying there's any free words or anything you can put together to try and create that awareness. It has to come out through conversation.
But you see, in America, I think this is again why I asked why do we look to America, because the situation is different, right? Last time I went to New York, I stayed in Spanish Harlem in a Airbnb, and it was a black New Yorker who owned it, and the other three rooms had black tourists from Georgia who were up for a wedding. And when I got there, within about an hour, they were just shaking their heads, going, "But like, why would you stay here? Why aren't you staying somewhere else?" I'm like, "It's a nice place. I don't mind staying here." Two of my white friends who live in New Jersey were like, "Are you crazy, Stannis? They will kill you. They'll rob you in your sleep." Like, no, because they're all polarized, polarized, polarized. When I was growing up back in this country, we was all mixed up, and the way it's gone in this country now, it's getting polarized the same way, going in the same directions.
And in that respect, I believe that as a nation, Britain takes their influence from America, which I've always found strange in a respect of that surely the forefounders of America were British, but now British look
No,
to
they were the
America
ones
for
that we kicked
direction.
out because they were too crazy to live here. The Quakers left here, went to Holland. The Dutch thought it was crazier than even we did. They kicked them out as well. Then they went to America to start a new paradise, and with their rules. And then that's where all this nonsense comes from. But then when you move forward, you got 88% of black murder victims in the US are killed by black people, right? So then what happens is, again, there's white people having this conversation. We're like, same with the boys stabbing each other in London, black boys stabbing each other in London. It's not our problem. It's a problem with the black community. And then what happens is it becomes you and us, them and we. And that, to me, is where a lot of these kind of issues come to the fore. Because from what I've read, like when we had Black Lives Matter and they went and sat on the runway at City Airport, what kind of nonsense is that? And they turn up like and the guy who what's his name that started Shazil, was that his name? Shazil, the guy that started BLM, and then he left because he said that they were just being used by the Democrats to protest and demonstrate, and then all the crazy lefties coming behind. It looks like the black people burning down the towns, but it's not even black people that are burning down them cities. It's agitators, it's outside agitators coming in.
Or even in that, those agitators, those provocateurs, to me, I felt this week disappointed that I'd not even clocked that was going on. Not just in this. I mean, that goes on everywhere, in every kind of protest against the government. That sort of thing happens to discredit the protest. But I only clocked that this time. I only clocked that now. But you said a point earlier to do with the looting, right? So for me, and I said to you that my friend actually said something to me. He said, I said, oh, well, why I thought that a protest was about, thought what they were doing was basically a way of standing up and saying, look, this government that we've elected in are behaving in a manner that we do not agree with. Hence, we're going to come out en masse to show this government, look, in between your election times, we're not happy, right? So listen to us, we're not happy. Look how many of us are out here showing that we're not happy. My friend turned around to me, right? And he's kind of like an activist brother anyway, but he basically said, no. The whole point of riots is to loot and smash up the thing. He said, what you're talking about is a protest. We've gone past protest.
No, way past it. Way past it.
I didn't even clock that.
Way past it. And the thing is, it's a different world. And these people are very manipulative. You've got like George Soros and the Clintons and the Rothschilds, and they've got their money to finance these organizations for their own agenda. And then we all just tiptoe along and get into it. I've been to about 3 or 4 riots in my life, and I've always noticed when the anarchists turn up and you go, well, hang on, these guys are pretty meaty and physically fit, considering they live on benefits and eat vegan food 24/7. So that's the thing, you know? And you see the protests, all they show on the media is protests of black people burning down cities, right? But for every one of those incidents, there's 100 incidents where they're just kneeling down peacefully protesting. But it feels this narrative of angry, violent black people. And what they do is, as soon as they go angry black people, Black Lives Matter, suddenly it's you and us.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what saddens me, man. That's what saddens me.
No, indeed. It is sad. It's I've got to say it again. Like I'm not on the looting thing, because I feel like I see a video of a guy stood there outside of a Nike store that was getting robbed, right? And he's going to somebody, get me a New York Yankees cap, get me a New York Yankees cap. I'll pay you for it. Hold on. Number one, so what, you're going to be angry with your country so much that you want to wear something representing your country? Number two, if you're going to pay for the cap, why don't you wait till the store opens, go and buy one?
Yeah. But that guy don't realise that he's feeding this whole kind of right-wing agenda in America. And the right wing in America, you got people like Ben Shapiro, Richard Saunders, and the narrative that they're giving, they will say to their audience of willing gun owners, look what the black people are doing. How can we have integration? People like Richard Saunders believe that all men are equal, and you lot should live in your equal country over there, and we live in our equal country over here. And people like myself, we're race traitors because we don't want to buy into that shit. But they have the guns, they've got the weapons, they've got the militias. All they need is this spark to have their little civil war conflict or whatever.
And I'll be honest, what I'm about to say now could sound very contentious. So if it offends anyone, then like it's not meant to offend. It's not said to offend. But I used to look at things like Dr. King, Martin Luther King, and think to myself, that's strange though, isn't it? Because why do people need a leader? Like, why do we need a leader? I've not really ever felt like one who needs to be led. And then I realised from the rhetoric of Trump, it's because the people who they've voted in seem not to be representing them, and overtly not representing them. So in the face of something like what's going on now, whereby Dr. King maybe would have been looking for peaceful protests, trying to push people to be socially distanced, trying to tell the looters them this and this, and they're hearing a voice from within their community, that voice at the moment isn't there. And whether I agree with the politics of leadership and so on or not, I can see that is at the moment lacking, right?
Yeah, but how can you have a leader when you get someone like Malcolm X and people start going, this guy's got a point, well, he gets executed. Or even Martin Luther King. I'm surprised they never shot Rosa Parks. And that's the thing, it's about how the community, what I've never understood, we talk about race and racism. Trust me, mate, Irish Catholics, we are amongst the worst. We're the worst, right? Because we don't like other white Irish people, but they're Protestants. And through our time, we've been rioting and burning and killing each other, okay? And throughout the 60s and 70s, it was killing each other in huge numbers. In the 80s, huge numbers. Now, 2020, what? They've got Polish people, they've got Eastern Europeans, they've got black people. It's a multicultural town, Belfast. What on earth were them idiots fighting for all them years ago? Because ultimately, this is what counts, mate. This is what counts. And the problem that you have in this country and in America is, in my opinion, where the black pound goes ain't in the right place. Ain't in the right place.
Well, indeed. I mean, in so many ways, indeed. And the thing is, we have the same thing in the UK with regards to, as I grew up, there was people would complain about there not being black supermarkets, black food places, and so on, right? And then someone would open one, and the black community wouldn't support it. Yeah. So like They'll be like, "Ugh, I don't like the way they're selling. Their yam's nasty. They're selling their yam too expensive. You can't get yam anywhere else to compare a price because there's no black shop anywhere." But they'd be like, their
No.
yam's too expensive, rare, and they wouldn't support it. Whereas some other nations or races, they support.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they support no matter what. Do you know what I mean? Like, my man's opened the shop. I'm going to buy my stuff from there. Yes, it might be 50 pence too much, but I'm going to go and buy it from there to try and help my man.
One of the biggest proponents of ending apartheid, right? The city of Georgia, Atlanta in Georgia. They Coca-Cola are based there, and they told Coca-Cola they would boycott it if they continued to sell Coca-Cola in South Africa. Atlanta's got the highest number of black female-owned restaurants in the whole of the United States. And what, they think they're going to let them kids burn them down? What kind of stupidness is that? But it's that thing of, it's that pound, where you spend that pound, that's where the power will come from. But how do you get a leader who steps forward and goes, where we spend that pound, when as soon as people start listening to him, he gets shot?
This is it. And I mean, on that level, I mean, there's an MMA fighter named John Jones, right? And he has not got the best back catalogue for stuff that he's done. He's done a few crazy things, you know what I mean, unlawful things and that. But there was footage of him being out in the streets telling people, like, what are you doing? Like, I don't even believe this is about George Floyd anymore. Like, what are you actually doing? Go home. Do you know what I mean? Stop the violence, stop the this, stop the that. When I think someone as crazy as him sees it and gets it and is going out there expressing this, the people that he spoke to, when they look up and see it's him, that would resonate with them way more than it would do many others. But I exactly get what you mean, man. It's like, even doing this, talking about this now, I've felt throughout this whole thing that it's easier. I don't know, man. I'm just going to say it as it is. I felt that it would be easier. I'd feel it easier for myself to express myself had I been a white person. And the reason why I say that is because it feels almost like putting your head up above the pulpit to say, well, actually, the man in the trench thinks this. As the bullets fly, you know?
But that's the thing. Do you not think Mandela, when he was on Robben Island in solitary, after about 10 years walking around that 2 foot by 2 foot cell, must have gone, why don't I just keep my mouth shut? That's hard. That's the thing that comes with it. And it's for people to step up, step forward, and to try to own it.
Exactly. And you mentioned Mandela. He owned it. He lived it. For a lot of his life, he was like that. And we cannot forget these figures. We cannot forget these people. I can't remember how it was eloquently put, but basically, if we forget where we've come from, we forget our history. We make the same mistakes moving forwards. And me mentioning about Rodney King, that happened back in '91. I saw a little meme, and it had a picture of Colin Kaepernick, who was a NFL footballer, taking a knee. It says at the top, don't protest like this, and it had all the violence. What do you mean? Protest silently, but not like this. Showed a picture of Colin Kaepernick. Not like this? Showed a picture of some singers that were trying to say something. Not like this. It showed a picture of Kobe Bryant, like wearing a I Can't Breathe. Can't have been Kobe Bryant, because Kobe's gone. But anyway, it showed a picture of a famous basketball player wearing the I Can't Breathe top. And all these things are like, as soon as people come out quietly, it's like, well, they shouldn't be doing that. Oh, they shouldn't be doing that. We remember, I mean, I'm not going to call him out, man, because the guy's like doing some madness. I don't really want to give him my energy. But like, when you see when Kaepernick was there and they were saying, Trump was saying, sack all the NFL players. Yeah. But now he's saying, oh, anyone who does, we should make space for peaceful protest. Well, when there's peaceful protest, you're not listening. And even now, you're not
acknowledging.
Because he don't
care. They don't. You don't understand. They don't care. This is what they care about. What you got? Obama, right? Everyone goes, Obama. Trump's terrible. Obama's great. Obama had more wars than any other American president. Killed more people than any other American president. So, but we look at him like he's a good guy. Mm-hmm. They're all the same. All these figureheads are the same.
And I think a big point on what you're saying there is it's the loudest voice that gets listened to the most. So today, what's bothered me is that those with the loudest voice can sometimes be the most ignorant. Yeah, but they're gonna have the loudest voice. It's gonna travel the furthest. Squeakiest wheel gets oiled first, and that. But then also, I see people who would, for example, believe that Obama was this and Trump is this, and they're a million miles apart, or so on and so forth. Have any of those people done their own research? And I think at the moment, this is it. It's this not mob mentality. That's maybe not it, but following the crowd.
It's following the herd because people don't take their time to think. The big thing you should be asking yourself, and you should be asking any of your white friends about this, right, is Why do you suddenly care? Why do you suddenly care about black people? Why?
I've had a few experiences, man. Like I've been in Europe and got chased by a bunch of people with knives. I've had some dodgy experiences in the US. Do you know what I mean? Where I felt it. Even that experience there, while it wasn't dangerous when I was looking for the champagne, it was the stark reality to me of I was not a person to this person until he realised I was British, and that's the reality of a lot of black people who are over there. They're kind of tarred with this brush. So, I mean, I don't think the why is the thing. I just feel like I hope it's not one of those things that's thought about for a week and then because it's popular now, and then it's
Next week, something else, and a dog will win Britain's Got Talent, and then we'll all be going, "Oh, look at little Fifi!" Oh.
hashtag Fifi, innit? Exactly.
It's just that whole thing of people have to understand Animal Farm. So all animals are equal. And within a week, underneath they put, but some animals are more equal than others.
Exactly. And when you mention that there, if people don't know about Animal Farm, George Orwell, please take some time, go have a look at it, man. Maybe see if there's on a film or something, but it's something you need in your life to realise it's about you using that right as a human being to be inquisitive and find out things for yourself.
Because it'd been so, yeah, I ain't following the herd. So the Saturday, when them idiots marched up from Peckham up to Trafalgar Square, some of them was dying crazy for there to be a riot. Okay? And the reason there wasn't a riot, it's quite simple. Because it wasn't advertised long enough in advance for the anarchists and all them infiltrators to go in there and make it kick off. That's the only reason there was no riots. Even there's a video of a girl getting pushed to the ground by the police. Now, the police told the girl, move. She didn't move. If you don't move when the police tell you move, you got to take what's coming, right? That's it, end of. But the fact was, they were trying to incite the crowd, but they couldn't because people were kind of like going, I'm not getting my ass kicked from a 15-year-old girl with a big mouth. Ain't happening. But if someone had thrown a bottle, it would have kicked off. And it's about that. And that's where it comes back to this thing about Black Lives Matter. All lives matter, but at the moment, no. Whatever we can do to show support for you, as soon as I come into my house, go to bed, my support's gone, mate. Because you're then on your house, on your own, in your bed. There's got to be some long-term changes here. And I said it so many times, it's that.
And I've got to be honest, there's another massive thing that we've missed during this. I'll probably put a link to it in the thing below. It might get removed, but it's public knowledge about how over the last, I think, 30 years or something, all cases of however many cases, but let's say there's 1,000 cases, this is probably inaccurate, of murders or people dying in custody of police. Like, not one of them has been seen as... They've all been thrown out of court, mate, basically, is what I'm saying. All of them.
Where is it? Here or in America?
In the UK.
England, yeah.
In the UK. I'm saying this is in the UK, our own back garden. And I'm saying this is inherent of, if you come into my club and my bouncer gets in a rough with you, then I'm going to try and protect my bouncer, innit? Because he's in my club. And that club, in this case, is the police and the magistrates and the law system. And if we look at what's going on in that article, which I'm going to put in the link below, then surely you must have to realise that it isn't just in America, it isn't just black people, you know, it isn't just a colour of skin thing.
Well, then that comes down to then, do you have more in common with a white person who's middle class than you do with a black guy from Peckham?
I don't know, man. You could ask the same question of Dr. King, right? You could say, and I'm not comparing myself to him, but I don't say that he would represent and be very close and have more in common with every single black person in America than he would do with every single white person in America. It can't be such things to me are lesser important. It's more important as that you can each one teach one. And to be honest, there's a track for you, right? Each one teach one. You can check it out if you type it in. I can't remember the dude's name, but yeah, each one teach one, and that's basically.
Did he write himself, or is this another one of your stolen songs?
Nah, man, you carry on talking. I'll find the tune now.
But here's my thing, right? So again, there is no way to justify what happened to George Floyd. It's just a disgusting. I would personally shoot all four of them police officers that did it. There's no. Why they're not already facing the death penalty, I do not know. Okay, and just as I think if you kill a policeman, it's more serious than killing a civilian. I think if a policeman kills someone, it's more serious than a civilian, right? But one of my heroes, man, I'd love to meet. Okay, Ian Wright. I love Ian Wright. I don't like Arsenal, but I just think the guy's enthusiasm for life, and as a role model, even for my kids, I'd go look to Ian Wright for what you could achieve in life. When he got those tweets last month, and the boy was nastily racially abusing him, and Ian Wright came out and exposed it, straight away people's going, it's a child that did it. How can you bully a child on social media? How are you going to feel if that child takes its own life? Why do you have to do it this way? Why don't you get your lawyers? Blah, 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 blah. It turned out the kid that did it was like 18. So this is what you're confronted with every day. But my friends don't know. My neighbours don't know that. I don't know that you got called a black bastard on the way to the shop yesterday.
For real.
And when people call me a fat bastard, I know it's different. It's different because I can lose weight, but unfortunately, mate, unless you just go all down the J-Lo road and lighten that skin up.
You know, and you're real, man. It's real because I've been chased in another country with mans with knives telling me, F off. I'm just going to say it. I don't really want to say it. I'll probably push this out, but F off happily back to Pakistan. Do you know what I mean? And even though, me, mate. And even though I know how I look, I couldn't really stop and say, well, excuse me. Actually, I'm from, you know what I mean? I just had to get low and get running.
Racism is wrong, but bad geography, there's no excuse for that.
No,
no excuse for bad geography. Get on that.
Right, we're going to have to go soon, but Each One Teach One is by a guy named Jacob Miller. We'll talk more about it in the next one. I'll cue that up for people now. But man, this is real, man. We'll see what happens.
This is real. Days. And you know what's going to happen? When we meet up next week, another 10 will be dead. And nothing is going to change until think about where you're spending your pennies. Think about where you're putting your money.
For real, man. It's a shame that, and on the one point, it's a shame that it takes for celebrities and stuff to stand up and show that this is a situation happening in America for people to realise it. But then on another level, that's where we're living now. That's where we're at. You know, it takes for celebrities and stuff to say something, for people to listen, because people don't necessarily like they're influenced. No one really necessarily wants to influence.
Well, you know, I'm not a big fan of Eminem, but the way he came out and stepped up, I thought fair play to you, because ultimately, white people, we've created this whole system of racism, and unfortunately, we got to take it apart, because for white privilege to end, we got to give some of it up, and then we've got to be explained to why I should give it up, and that's where the problem is. The problem isn't these black kids looting and rioting. The problem is these white businessmen, well-to-do white families, not seeing how we are part of that problem, perpetuating that system.
Indeed. I hear that, man. I would say there is slightly a bit of a problem with the youth, them robbing and looting, because like, what are you doing? Need some leadership, man. But like,
looting in Ireland when there's a riot. Who does the looting in Russia? You know, Putin must be waking up, having his breakfast and going, "This is the best thing ever happened in the world." And when them Americans start seeing tanks and GIs on their streets with guns, they're going to know how them people felt in Iraq and Libya and Syria and them other places.
For real, man. I mean, it is raw. They're going to be. I mean, what is it? Trump said yesterday, put the military upon them. Basically, obviously he didn't say it like that. Trump hasn't all of a sudden.
When the looting starts, the shooting starts.
Trump stood there and went, "Cha, that's where the military upon them." Nah, but like, to be honest, we'll probably end up talking about this again, either later on this week or next week. But yeah, I just felt there's some things have to be spoken about, and I've tried to be brutally honest about it, as you have.
If anyone's affected by any of the issues we've raised, or upset or concerned by anything we've said, there's a phone number that will be in the box below, but it'll be my number, and I'll just tell you to go do one. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, man. Peace. I'm Jonathan Prince.
I'm John Ryan.
And we are Brutally Johnest. All right. Peace.